We haven't even got through January and Starmer is at odds with Trump over Greenland, threatening to block X, smash the record number for the number of boats, and is on the verge of granting this embassy in China, in London for China. The man's a nightmare. Talking of which, today is D-Day. Will Keir Starmer, or has he already, approved this Chinese mega embassy in the centre of town near the Royal Mint? Lots of people in the UK very concerned about the security implications, naturally. Let's say a very good morning to Professor Anthony Glees, Director of the Centre for Security and Intelligence Studies at the University of Buckingham. Good morning, Professor. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good.
You've got more words after your name than anybody. Let's cut to the... I know.
Don't bother about it.
Anthony, thank you so much. Let's talk about this Chinese mega embassy. I sent my roving reporter down yesterday. There were protests. Some people fear that he's already done a deal with China. This is a major security concern, isn't it?
Well, of course it's a major security concern. And I think to allow the Chinese to develop Royal Mint Court as the largest embassy in the United Kingdom, the largest diplomatic mission in the whole of Europe, is, frankly, the crazy side of reckless. I don't follow your line with Sir Keir Starmer. This is a decision that has been encouraged by successive governments, and Starmer is. We think he's going to agree to this. He's simply picking up what previous governments have done.
Well, he could veto it then. He could veto it then, couldn't he?
Well, I think he should veto it. Of course I do. But your listeners will want to understand the full context here. Mm-hmm. They'll want to understand why this is such a threat to us. Mm-hmm. They'll also want to understand, though, that a number of voices from Britain's intelligence community, retired voices, I have to say, have said it's a great idea. Let's do it. So.
Why? Any idea why they've said that?
They're putting forward curious reasons. Lord Evans, a former Director General of MI5, says that if you concentrate all the Chinese in one building, it's easier to keep an eye on them than if they're dispersed in lots of small buildings. And what's bizarre about that is that if you've got to trail 1,000 people, whether you're trailing them from several places in London or one place in London, you're still having to trail 1,000 people. There's nothing to be gained by concentrating them. And what Lord Evans appears to ignore is the fact that the super embassy, it won't only be an embassy, it will include something called a cultural institute. So people will go into the embassy, they can be kept in the embassy, kidnapped or beaten up as they were in the Chinese embassy consulate in Manchester a couple of years ago. But Lord Evans says that's okay. We'll have 200 extra officials in the super embassy. Now, people may say, why do the Chinese want this super embassy in London? It's clear to me that the back of the Chinese mind here is that it would be a place from which to conduct intelligence operations, not just against the United Kingdom, not just against British universities, not just trying to bribe MPs. You know, we'll remember an MP was given £500,000 by the Chinese to help him with his work, but also in Europe. And we are seen as vulnerable. I know you and I may well disagree, Jeremy, about the consequences of Brexit, but one consequence is that we are out of the European security and intelligence framework. We've got a kind of hang on Europol, but basically the Chinese see us as a soft touch. So whether it's secret cables, whatever, this super embassy is a grave mistake. If you're in a security hole, you should not dig further and give the Chinese this super embassy. Now, other spooks are also saying it's a great thing. Former head of MI6 is saying, oh, well, we want a larger embassy in Beijing, so let's give them a larger embassy here. It's not MI6's job to secure the embassy in London. That's MI5's job. And others have said, well, all embassies spy. Well, all embassies do spy, but we're not all communist China. So it seems to me that whichever way you look at this decision, China should never have been allowed to buy the building. It bought it in May 2018 for £255 million. The then government, of which Boris Johnson was a member, I think, was perfectly happy with that. Oh, Chinese investment, wonderful. But look at that regime. And when our security community says, oh, we can deal with the threat, we have to say, no, you can't. Look at the botched trial of 2 suspected Chinese spies in Parliament in October.
Listen, I've only got 30 seconds. I've got to ask you no, you've been brilliant. Very quickly, do you think it'll be verified today, the super embassy, yes or no?
I think it will be, but it shouldn't be.
Second question, would you give away the Chagos Islands and money?
Well, again, we might disagree. In May last year...
I've only got 10 seconds. You wouldn't, would you?
We do what the Americans say. That's the trouble, Jeremy. We're in no man's land. Trump says jump, and we says yes, how high? That's got to stop. We're a strong
Love having you on. Come again, Professor Anthony Glees. Good morning, David Mal.